Good morning, everybody. It is Todd Bookspan, and I am at the helm of our Insane Productivity for Mortgage Coach Mastermind today, as our fearless leader, Dave Savage, is out in the beautiful Palm Springs, and he is watching one of the Mortgage Coach Elite, Denise Donahue, on stage this morning, and she is presenting about Mortgage Coach. So he may join us. It looks like rumor has it they're running a little behind schedule, so he thought he would be in early in the call, and now he's not sure that he will make it. So definitely we'll miss him nonetheless. I've got Dave Gallegos here at my side helping me moderate. Good morning, Dave.
How you doing?
Doing excellent, doing excellent. So he and I are very excited to engage with all of you. I was hoping that we had a couple of members out at Insane Productivity Live, Darren's live event last week. I don't see them logged in the call today yet, so I may call them out if they show up to kind of give us a quick update. But, you know, as usual, remember Dave's rules of engagement. Manage your mute. Right now you're all muted, but Marcy's going to start unmuting people slowly but surely here in a bit. So if you guys could just manage your mute if you have something exciting to say. Love it if you raise your hand, and then I'll definitely call on you, but just be aware that I may be calling on you even when your hand is down today, so we can get some engagement going. I always say that the less we all talk from the panelist side and the more we get you all to engage, the better this call is going to be. We always come into it kind of with no set agenda. If you remember, we've got people now in two phases of Insane Productivity. We've got our original group who are kind of straddling Module 9, Module 10-ish, and then we've got the second phase of all you who came in, and you're all in the Module 4 and 5 range. Remember, there's no spoilers. If you're only back in Module 2 or 3, don't worry. There's nothing that we're going to say that's going to make those future modules less impactful. In fact, I would argue the opposite, that the more you hear this great group of people talking about their struggles and their victories with Insane Productivity, I think the more prepared you'll be when you actually get there. So the goal always is to kind of open up and have a few of you share some success stories, share some ideas of what you'd love to hear the group discuss, and as always, there's potential for that awkward pause while you're all thinking, hopefully you're all thinking that you want to say something, but you're worried you're going to say it over somebody else. So if you've got an idea, just shout it on out, because we would love to hear it. If not, I've got a couple of you unsuspecting souls that I'm going to just call on shortly. But I'll go ahead and allow you guys to start jumping in. Who wants to go first? You know, I know I can always call on Michelle Town. And I think Michelle might have even been at Sales Mastery. Are you there, Michelle?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't know. I got a lot of feedback there. I'm recovering today.
How was Sales Mastery?
Show. Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Great.
I mean, it was a lot of great information. A lot of everything really ties into what we're doing here. It's about focus. Everything's about focusing, so not being so broad in what you're trying to do, but focus on the one thing that you can do. It was really impressive. The panel that I was on yesterday, we talked about being the referral source, and it was incredibly, I mean, we had 3 different approaches to it, but every single one of them was, you know, went back to the CRM and how important having an active and managing your database, and, you know, signing, you know, your, you know, Dave Jaffe he calls it his raving fan club, and, you know, assigning to clients, you know, specific categories so you don't waste your time a lot on the people that don't, you know, you do more of the people that give you 10% of your business than less than 1% of your business, if that makes sense.
Yeah, love it, and I know Dave really well. He's definitely a stellar role model for that.
Oh,
so,
for sure.
Well, that's awesome. So we may dig in with you on that if the conversation starts to stall, because I'm interested to hear it, and I'm sure that others are. Any insane productivity ideas of discussion today that you think would be great for this group or would be helpful to you?
So I'm going to call myself out. I did not finish my Module 5 because I was worried. I was totally stressed about being on stage and almost ran. So I'm still on Module 4. I will tell you, this whole week has been working on that why, working on the information, a lot of what we spoke about last week, finding your core values. I've really instituted it in my teams, and I would say if you're going to talk about something great, I mean, talk about how to implement that with your teams. It sounds like there's a lot of people that are growing teams here that are maybe struggling with some of the feedback that I'm hearing from people on the Facebook and people that I know personally that are in this are, how do you let go? How do you give the team the control so that you can go do what you're supposed to be doing?
Love that topic. Love that topic, and it seems to be a common theme. So I'll definitely make sure that we jump in on that, and I appreciate that. All right, so who's next? Who else would love to follow that up and give us some topics for today or some success stories? I don't know if it's Tara or Tara Warren. I'm hoping that you're okay with me calling on you. I noticed that you posted in there about Module 5 and multitasking. Can you speak into how that's been for you?
Yeah, well, can you guys hear me? I've joked for a few years now that the longer I'm in this business, the dumber I become. And after listening to Module 4, I realized I am actually dropping my IQ. So I've been trying to work really hard on that by, if I'm working on a file, I close my email, I turn off the ringer on my phone so I can just focus on that one thing that I'm doing. And that's helped. I've been able to get things done a lot faster, and I've actually been sharing some of this with my husband, who's in a completely different industry, but struggles with some of the same interruptions and problems that way. And he's started teasing me that I shouldn't be talking in my 90 minutes and doing my power hour and all those kinds of things. It's really helping. I'm trying to work on coming up with a schedule that works for me and my team. And so if anyone can speak to that on maybe how they implement those 90 minutes within their team and still be able to take care of clients and that kind of stuff, I'd like some input on that maybe.
Love it. That's a great one. Getting team support. And so I got to ask, is it Tara or Tara?
It's Tara.
Tara, all right. I'm married to a Tara, so I always have to ask.
Yes, don't mix that up.
Perfect. All right. So I love that topic of getting the team buy-in and making it protect you, and that you don't have to be there for 90 minutes feeling like nothing is happening and that people are stressed out because they can't reach you. So we will definitely address that today. I love it. Thanks so much, Tara, for your input. I see Tony has his hand up. Go ahead, Tony Garshnick. Oops, let me unmute you. That'll help. All right. Now you're unmuted.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
All right, cool. Yeah, one of the things that I've been doing, I'm still back on Module 2, and I'm headed into Module 3. But one of the things that I found, and a friend of mine shared this with me on our phones, because I'm rather schizophrenic when it comes to my phone. It's one of those big downfalls for me. I tend to gravitate towards it all the time, and I've been using the airplane mode, and it not only stops calls and texts, but it reminds you that you can't call out or text out because there's basically nothing you can do with your phone. It's locked up. So for those that really struggle with looking at their phone and trying to wean themselves off of that, that's been huge for me.
That's seriously all in, right?
Yeah, it's all in. And you can definitely do that. And Tara, that you can do that when you're in your 90-minute jam sessions. is just put that thing on airplane mode, and all of a sudden a lot of your distractions disappear.
Love it. Love it. I appreciate that. I think that's good advice, and I hadn't even thought of that. I'm sure most people hadn't. Any other topics that you would love to make sure that we cover as a group today?
You know what? I mean, it's the distraction thing is perfect. But one of the things I'm still struggling with is I know we talked a lot last week about getting up in the morning, and you know, I am still having a hard time with that. So you know, I go back and forth about, well, you know, I'm flexible with my schedule, and you know, I know that I've got to take care of myself first, meaning that I've got to get my workout in, I've got to read, I've got to meditate, I've got to do all these things, but do I have to really get up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning to do that? And you know, it's just it's a mind game, because I've been able to do it in the past, but for some reason I'm having a hard time switching myself over to make that happen again. And you know, the alarm, even if the alarm is set and it goes off, I reach over and I shut the thing off and go back to sleep. It's horrible. So
you know, you're probably not the only one on the call, so that's a great subject. We'll definitely dig in on that. Appreciate the transparency you sharing, because you know, I got to imagine there's some others on the call who are trying to change that habit and struggling with that as well.
Yeah, that's all I got. Thank you.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Mark Thompson's got a question. I don't think he's logged in. I don't see any audio with him. So, Mark, if you're there and you are, oh no, now you're logged in. I see you now. You want to ask your question, Mark, or you want me to read it?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I'm talking from the computer, so do I sound okay?
You sound great.
Great. So, good morning, everyone. I've had a question. I'm stuck on Mod 3. I did a self-proclamation to everybody that I've been slacking, so I should be on Mod 5, and I'm not. And I was distracted. And I went back to Mod 3, realizing that that was the whole topic of Mod 3, which I thought was kind of ironic. So one of the questions that I would love to just kind of throw out there is, you know, I try to make a list of the 10 things that I want to turn off, or the list of behaviors that I want to stop. You know, I've listed a bunch, but I'd be really interested to hear what other people turned off and what other behaviors people are working to stop.
Love it. Love it. Okay. I appreciate that, Mark. I think that we definitely have, we'll be able to definitely get some discussion around that. That is awesome. All right. Who is next? Any other? We got 3 topics. Maybe we can get a 4th. That would be awesome. Who's brave enough to unmute themselves or raise their hand and jump in with a success story or another topic for our call today? I see a hand, Jim Charbier.
Hey, Todd.
Hopefully that's how you pronounce it. Good morning, sir.
That's correct. Can you hear me all right?
I can. Thanks so much.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of mod 3, mod 4 right now. But one of the things that I'm really struggling with is you know, moving from just working in my business to working on my business. I'm just realizing how difficult it is to set aside time to really focus on things that I need to correct or do better, or you know, forward-thinking stuff. And I just got to find a way to be more efficient, but it's quite a struggle for me. And then the thing that I've kind of enjoyed from this last week is the challenge to not multitask. I found that to be like, you know, every 5 minutes there's another challenge not to do 2 things at the same time. And so I kind of like that, though. I really think it's a great idea, and really trying to take that to heart.
You know, I love it, and I think that it seems like that's the one for sure that resonated with everyone, the no multitasking piece. And, you know, I think I've shared it a couple times now on the call. I always laugh because, you know, yesterday I picked my daughter up, and she gave me a hard time because she thought I was on my phone. I was just setting the map to make sure we were going the right direction to get where we were heading. But she gave me that hard time of, Dad, you promised you weren't going to be on the phone in the car anymore. And so I always love it when other people hold you accountable. And, you know, Dave's a much better multitasker. You'll notice I've already written down some quotes from you guys, but I'm not typing them into our Facebook page while while I'm listening to you guys because I can't multitask like Dave can. So, no, I think that's great, and I think that the challenge of getting away and doing those jam sessions, doing that on time is tough. So that's great. Let's make sure that we talk about that as well when we're talking about the team buy-in on it. Any other grand thoughts?
No, I mean, each week has just been a new set of great challenges and ideas, and so, I mean, nothing in particular other than those that I mentioned right now, but I keep going back actually and listening to previous modules and trying to get some really good notes down and condense those into something that I can look at every day just to remind me.
Love it. Love it. So awesome. I appreciate that. So a couple quick takeaways before I get to the first topic. I think, takeaway number one is that if you're one of the people silently in the call thinking, oh my gosh, I'm behind, you've already heard from half the people who shared that they're struggling to keep on each week as we go. And so, I think the key is just to accept it and put it behind you and dig in and move on. And then, the other thing is we continue to hear some pretty similar struggles. And so as we kind of go through this, certainly would love to hear from anyone and all of you who have ideas on it. I know at some point Dave Gallegos is going to jump in because he's got great ideas on all these. So Dave, anytime you feel that's great. But I think let's go with the first discussion topic that we got from Michelle Town, which is really that idea of how do you let go of what you typically do to allow your team to run it, the handoff piece, and how anyone here is doing that part of it, because that's definitely a challenge for any of you who are trying to grow, to realize that you've got to allow some other people to be a little more active in your business. And so we'd love to get some feedback. What are some of you doing out there in that arena? I know Dave Gallegos can talk about it if no one else will.
It's interesting because when I first got in the mortgage business, and this goes back to 97, 98, I actually joined a coaching group with E-Myth, an E-Myth coaching group. And E-Myth is where a lot of us have read and heard, work on your business, not in your business. And at the time, I remember telling the coaches there that I was the only one who could do what I could do, that I couldn't have anybody else do the work that is about doing loans. I would have to do, it's just too specialized. And I really believed it. and it's funny now because, we're building teams, and I haven't actually originated a loan personally in a long time. We're growing a team of really solid producers and helping them build teams. And it's what everybody says about it is that, I guess what I want to tell everybody is, yeah, it's really hard, and that's normal. It's not easy. And if it was easy, everybody would have these amazing production teams, and everybody would earn a lot less money, I suppose, because I guess that's the thing I would tell everybody is like, yeah, it is challenging, and that's the people that the people that are most successful are the people that stay at it and stay focused on it and continue to work at it. And my advice to begin with for everybody is just find that. What worked really well for me is that I really had to start thinking a lot. It started with just a lot of thinking about how I ran my business, and the most challenging thing for people that are really good salespeople is writing down how they do it, because it's pretty intuitive. We don't put a lot of thought into it if you're just naturally kind of gifted at sales and talking to people. But that was where I started doing it. I had to start writing down exactly how I did what I do so that I could begin to find ways to leverage what I did so that I could have other people doing it. And the thing is that it is challenging. That's the thing. It's challenging. It just is. And so, but that's okay, because the payoff is huge. And that's I don't know. I don't have a magic. There is no magic bullet, right? And so,
but I think that's a great first step, right? Step number one is to have a clear written process, because it's hard for somebody to know exactly what to do if you tell them at once and then they don't have a document to go back to inspect.
You couldn't be more accurate. You couldn't be more accurate. Writing it down is hard, and that's where. So don't write the whole thing down because you won't finish the whole thing. But write down what happens when the phone rings until I pull credit or something like that. Just a part of the process. Start to document it. But yeah, that's great advice.
One of the other things I would say on that too, and then I'm going to call on Nicole Francis, who's got her hand up, is you can also, if you're quote unquote too busy or unskilled at writing a system out, is you can encourage the team member, someone who's doing that job currently, but maybe a little confused sometimes, or even doing it with excellence, and have them write it out for you. When I decided to make the transition into coaching, I had taken 450 applications the year before, and I kind of needed someone to take that over for me. I had a brand new 22-year-old kid who had never been in the mortgage business. He was a window estimator. And so as I transitioned him into the role of having my pipeline go to him within our team, I had to bring in people to support alongside of him, and I actually had him create a book. We've got a big 2-inch thick manual of all the different processes that I had him create, and the person actually that I hired for him to train create as they were learning those things together. So that was a great way for me to do it because it's not one of my strengths. I'm good at ideas, but I'm not a detail person, and so I had the detailed people create those written processes for me.
Well, and let me add,
oh, go ahead.
In the spirit of full disclosure, let me add, I didn't write any of it down. I begged my wife to do it. So
there you go. All right, well,
one of those guys. Yeah. So to be clear.
Love it. All right, Nicole Francis, welcome. Let me unmute you. That'll help. All right, you're unmuted.
Hi. I want to say that the other thing is that you just really have to put your faith and your trust in your team. So the way that I figured out how I could trust is that I went on vacation. I just got back from 2 weeks in Italy, and I mean, they really just surprised me with not only how well and how smooth everything got done, but it gives the team the opportunity to rise up and shine. And there's somebody that is he's a brand spanking new LO that's working on my team, and he actually told me that he learned so much with me gone, and because it's part of this is trial and error and figuring things out, and of course you want your business to be completely smooth, but you actually do have to let go, and then that will give you, as I was leaving, I had 3 problem files. One, literally as I was getting on the plane the day I was leaving, it was crazy. One of the files, I kind of had a feeling for, but we had made a specific plan for 2 of them. The 3rd problem file, they really stepped in and did everything they could, and I didn't have to be involved in my pipeline or call any of my clients or my referral partners. Literally, I took a 2-week vacation, and we have a pretty big pipeline right now, and so one of the guys is newer, and so you really just need to just let go, and it feels good, and people will surprise you in how they learn, and if they don't, then maybe that speaks to if that player is really the right person for your team.
Love it. So congratulations for taking a 2-week vacation.
Yeah, it's great.
Was there anything that you implemented with them before you left, or were they just taking off the systems that were already in place?
They were just really going off of the systems that were already in place. We had, of course, right before we left, we had a pipeline meeting, both on newer deals that were coming in and what I was thinking, and we use our CRM to take very accurate notes on what's going on with the file, where it's going, and so we're very electronically a unit, so all of the information is shared. It's really easily accessible. It's in one place. We have a pretty organized system. It can always be better, but we communicate electronically, so we can all see what each other is thinking. and there's notes in there and correspondence, conversation logs and that sort of thing.
That's great. That's great. Well, we appreciate that. That's a great thing for the rest of us to aspire to a great vacation in Italy.
Yeah.
All right. So that was another great example. Who else here has a great example of how they've dealt with handing something over to their team? Silence. That's okay. All right. So, hey, Dave, how about you? Anything else that you would add to that before we move on to the next topic?
No, I think that she brought up some really good points, and it's one of the things that the people on the guys on our salespeople struggle with is letting go and trusting the people that are going to do the work, and it is tough because it's your reputation. You feel like it, but but if you've done so, that's it. You've got to let go. That's my advice.
I think that's great. I think the other key thing I would probably throw in there as a last piece is just work on the scripting of it. If your team is scripted with regards to how they take in calls and you're scripted in how you hand off calls, so that way when Levi on my team, even though I haven't talked to a client in 4 or 5 months now, he'll say, Todd asked me to give you a call if he's calling a previous client, or if someone calls in for me, since all those calls, no client can reach me, everything goes into him now. And so he'll say, oh, Todd got your voicemail and he asked me to give you a call. And so a lot of it's the scripting around there so that the people don't think you're totally unplugged. They still think that you're involved. If someone picks up a file and is calling a client on a condition, they can always say, oh, great, you know what, Dave asked me. Dave and I were talking about your file, and he asked me to give you a call. And so at some point you were talking about the file. So you didn't say, we were talking about it 5 minutes ago. And so it's just a matter of kind of making sure that the clients feel that you're still involved there. And then I think, truly, again, if you've got a process that's crystal clear and systems in place, like Nicole said, her CRM had everything in it, then it's really highly likely that you'll have success. And in the end, there's going to be a few bumps and bruises along the way, but typically none of them are, no one's going to lose a house. No one, you're not going to lose a relationship over it because really it's just along the way where, something may not have gone as great as if you had scripted or you had made the call or you had done it yourself, but it's all going to go 80-90% as good, which is probably better than the rest of the competition anyway. Anyone else want to jump in on that one? I kind of was trying to stall to see if anyone else had 2 cents on it. If not, we're going to move over into that whole how do you actually implement that 90-minute jam session, and I'll kind of combine that a little bit with Jim's question, which is kind of how are you doing that, not multitasking. We certainly got great advice from Tony on putting it into airplane mode, but Tara was asking specifically with regards to implementing the 90-minute and getting your systems around it, which is partially a little bit of what we just talked about, but then also how to get your team to buy in. So who's got something to say on that? We got a quiet group today. How about Troy Root? I know you've done some of this. What, anything that you'd be willing to add to the conversation?
I'm a little quiet because I'm in a public place today, but on that multitasking, I mean, I'll admit I've slacked off this week on that. But multitasking, I've learned that I've got more work done with multitasking, and simply just by a lot of it's just by calendaring the time in. Like back to the jam sessions, it's just put on your calendar as a non-negotiable appointment. That's when I do that. That's the best way for me to do it. But then when I do the multitasking standpoint, going into the jam sessions is I actually do what Darren talked about with the timer, just so I know I can stay focused. Know that for 45 minutes I have to be focused and be intentional.
I think that's key, right? If you know what that time is. So are you one of those people that's checking the timer the whole time, or are you you just know it's there and the buzzer goes off at the end and you stop?
No, I'm one of those guys that is visually there, and I know when it goes to hits that time, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, I'm done, and not a minute past. But I'm focused, fully intent, all in that 90 minutes. I work on one thing and nothing else.
Love it, love it. I think that's great, and appreciate it. Yeah, when that even in a public place you're on and participating in the call today. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
How about anyone else who is doing their jam sessions actually in their office and is having to get all the people wandering around looking in the window, seeing your do not disturb sign, or just seeing that the door is closed, and getting those people not to bug you? Anyone have a story around that or experience with it to share with the group?
Yeah, this is Mark Thompson. I got a story on that one.
Love it.
This was one of my challenges too, like the gentleman who just spoke before me. And what I realized today is that I too had been a slacker, and I looked at my schedule, and during my 90-minute jam session, I was like, you know what? I'm scheduling out for the next 12 weeks. And so I just went through my calendar, took a look at what I've been doing, take a look at the phone times that I'm making per week, per day, take a look at the scheduled times, and I just had to get things together. But it took me 90 minutes kind of to put my head around it and to actually get it in place. As a result of that, right afterwards, I went and spoke with my assistant, sat down, and I said, all right, man, it's happening again. We're making some changes. And so I sat down and I printed a copy of it, and I said, this is officially my schedule for the next 12 weeks, and I need you to hold me accountable to it. Every single day you have to ask me 3 times how my phone call is doing and how we doing. And I said, put it in your calendar. You have to remind me of that. And he's like, perfect. He's like, he's obviously paid per hour, but then also paid per file. So the more I'm productive to bring in the deals as the rainmaker, the more money he makes as well. So that was the first part. So that afternoon we started, and the first time there I went in, I said, hey, I'm locking myself out. He said, great. And I went in there and I shut my door, and about 35 minutes into it, all of a sudden I get a knock on my door, and I don't answer it, and all of a sudden it's silent for about 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden it opens up. A friend of mine who's a financial planner sneaks in a mocha for me, puts it on my desk, and says, Jeff said I'm not allowed to talk to you. Goodbye.
That's awesome.
And walked out. So putting it in practice and making it happen, once again, it's not easy. I struggle with it every single day, but I look at my calendar, I see what I need to do, and I'm working towards it now.
Well, congratulations on that. I did see that you posted that onto the Facebook group, so thanks for sharing it with all of us. And I think it's a brave step. And so do you think that 12 weeks out is too far out to think that you can schedule if something important comes up? Or what's your plan on that, just to move that block, forward or backward, or what are you thinking there?
Yeah, absolutely. So the big thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying not to get into vacation mode this year, because what that does is that really challenges my January and February. So realizing, I'm taking a week off in Christmas time, I'm taking, the first week of January off already, and, I'll probably take a week off in November. But nonetheless, I really want to focus towards those times when I am here, that I'm totally focused on that. If there are appointments, I did ask Jeff and made it real clear that, we have to ask permission to change the schedules, and willing to do that. But I mean, I need to fit that phone time in. I got to make those 20 phone calls a day. I've got to have that 90 minutes of productivity, solid time in per day as well. And those are non-negotiable.
Awesome. I love that. I think that's terrific, and I appreciate that. One thing that reminds me of too is that a lot of you guys have corporate Outlook, and Outlook will allow you to share your calendar with somebody else. And so when you put these time blocks in your calendar, you can share that calendar with anyone else who may try to be scheduling things for you, so that they actually on their own desktop actually see your actual calendar, and then they can help that piece. I think the accountability part is huge. Getting somebody else, especially someone else whose income depends on your productivity, to be part of your cheerleading section will certainly help. In fact, maybe what I'll do when we get off the call here today is I'll throw up their a topic on the Facebook group. So anyone who wants to publicly put in there their commitment for the time frame that you're going to commit next week to jam sessions, whether that's a 60-minute jam session or 3 90-minute jam sessions or 10 hours or whatever that is, we can put it in there, and then we can all talk about it without giving everyone a hard time if they don't hit it next week on the call. I really appreciate that. Mark, anything else to add?
No, I think it's once again it's a challenge I face every day, and just plowing through it.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I see Mr. Savage may have arrived. Is that you, Dave?
Uh-huh.
Oh, maybe not. Well, once Dave gets here, we'll let him give us a quick update from Sales Mastery. Yeah, I see his phone there. I see a microphone. So is that you, Dave?
I am here. How you doing, brother?
Welcome. Welcome. We're doing great. We're having a great call without you. Sorry, but any update from the Sales Mastery floor that you think would be beneficial? We've spent some time talking through the no multitasking challenge, how to really get your team to buy in to protect your jam sessions, and then just a little bit around about teams in general, allowing people to do work for you. We had Nicole get on and talk about her recent 2-week trip to Italy and how successful her team was in her absence.
Love it, love it. Well, I don't think what I'm going to share is like something new or like this big epiphany, but I would say the theme started this week when I interviewed Jeremy Forcier. By the way, one of my favorite top producer interviews. I've interviewed Jeremy a lot. I think his success right now is just mind-bending. He's going to do about $140 million in personal production, and he has built a region, not with a big company, a company that didn't have a great platform or a big platform when he joined. And over 2 years, he's taken it to where they're going to do $1.5 billion in funding. So he's not only managing and leading, but he's, just killing it as an originator. And, he said something that I am just relentless with getting the most out of every minute. Every minute of the day, is important. Every time I can take a minute out of a task is huge. And so that kind of kicked off the week, and then just, thinking of all the interviews and all the people that are killing it, it's all about being insanely productive. So it just made me really kind of reflect on, all the touch points, all the things that I can do to improve productivity. Again, that's a theme why we're all here, insane productivity. But I would just put a push to listen to that interview with Jeremy. It was a great call with a great leader. And I just throw in the hat, let's just get really focused on executing the things we're talking about. I know I'm going to push a lot harder for the next couple of weeks myself. I'll throw it back to you, Todd, because I don't want to kill the rhythm.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here, and we'll look to have you speak in. And Kristen Messerly's here, so I know that she's going to jump in at some point and give us some of her wisdom. One of the other questions that we got today was, around this waking up early, and I know we've spent a fair amount of time on the last couple calls talking about people's the bookends, right, the morning routine, but specifically around this question of getting up early, does anybody have anything that's worked particularly well for them that they can help out Tony with and maybe help sharpen someone else on the call?
Hey, Tony, I got one. It's Mark Thompson. Are you ready, Tony?
We're ready. Let's go.
Do what Darren Hardy said. Sleep in. You're not a morning guy. Do it in the afternoon. Give yourself a break. Don't do it. It's okay. That's it.
This is Kristen Messerly now. And
hey,
this is perfect because I actually was a terrible morning person, but it's the only time that I will work out, and I feel really good if I do get up. And so I've been putting that into practice over the last couple of weeks. And I just need a routine and something that makes me excited to get out of bed. So if I'm getting up to work out immediately, then it doesn't work well for me. But I get up and kind of have some relaxing time, drinking a cup of coffee, answering emails, and doing a kind of like meditation thing, and then I go work out because I'm more awake. And then the other thing is that I have an alarm now that requires me to complete a math puzzle or like a math problem, and it makes my mind awake enough to realize, oh yeah, you do want to get up right now. So those have been two things that have helped me a lot to implement that practice.
All right, a math problem alarm, that sounds like zero fun to me.
Works though.
No, I'm writing that one down. Do you mind posting that up into the Facebook group
Yeah,
of where
sure.
you would get a math problem alarm? Because I got to imagine there's some other people who would like that. Does anybody else agree with Mark's idea that we should let Tony sleep in, or does anyone else have an idea how we get Tony's butt out of bed earlier?
I've got a few thoughts. So one, getting up late is a bad idea. So not going to go into details on that. I know it's meant to be a joke, but nevertheless. But hey, I don't know if folks noticed it, but if you use iPhone, the new iOS, they updated the clock. I don't. Todd, did you notice the new feature that they created in the clock
no,
feature?
apparently I'm not as techie as you are.
Well, it's called bedtime. So literally, this is built into the Apple iOS mobile system, where they take sleep seriously. And they now have a feature, it's got world clock, it's got alarm, and now it's got something called bedtime. And you set the time you want to go to bed, it sets the time you want to go up. It's super cool. You can see the number of hours that you're sleeping, and then it gives you an alarm to go to bed and an alarm to wake up. So I thought just I think it speaks well to how important rest is. We're starting to build that into mobile tech. And I think the concept, you want to wake up early, it starts with going to bed right. And I would just remind folks, I got to remind myself on this one, put the tech away a half hour beforehand. By the time you hit the bed, at least I know for myself, the more I go to bed on time, the more I go to bed right, clear on what I'm supposed to do tomorrow, the more I wake up on time and I'm clear on what I need to do today. So there's a thought and a validation around how important it is to go to bed.
All right, I like that. I didn't notice that new bedtime thing, but I'm kind of a nerd right now around my sleep, so I'll have to try that one out.
I'll take a screenshot, everyone, and post it so you can check it out.
Awesome. All right, well, this is a lively debate. Anyone else have any great ideas around sleep and waking up early that would help out this crew? All right, the group got quiet. So
I'll add something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll add something.
Love it.
So I agree. I used to do this and I've stopped, and so people that are like us, we beat ourselves up if we say we're going to work out 6 days a week and then we only work out 5. We think we have failed. I have an accountability partner that I check in, that I met at my high performance forum, Todd, and 3 years later, he and I still talk every Saturday morning, and we laugh about how it's like, oh, I only worked out 5 times this week. I go, you suck, because you don't suck. You worked out 5 times this week, and I've decided recently that I'm not going to sacrifice sleep for anything. Well, I'm not going to sacrifice sleep for a workout. I'm not going to. Sleep is so important to how the rest. And I've noticed I just feel a lot better. I have a lot more energy, even, so. So that's really critical, and when you go to bed is really important. That's one of the disciplines that I've had to change in my life, because I was one of those guys that would stay up late, and I was like, oh, I don't like to get up early. And it's actually, I don't like to go to bed. I don't like to go to bed early, and I've changed that and actually really love sleep. And so, and in the same productivity, Darren talks about making sure that you've got the most comfortable bed that everybody on this call can afford, the most comfortable bed possible, the most comfortable pillow. That's your head. So you're doing everything that you can to take care of yourself physically and mentally when it comes to sleep. But as far as the waking up part, something I've struggled with for years, and until recently, I read a book, Extreme Ownership, Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, and at page 271. So if you haven't read this book, read the book. There's just a great paragraph on getting up in the morning, and it freaking inspires you to get up. Like, I'm getting up when the alarm goes off. I'm not hitting that snooze button because of this a really powerful thought about this. So read that book and go to page 200. Just jump to page 271. I'll post it on the Facebook group today, but it's a powerful thought process about, did you get up? Did you pass the first test? And so, so there you go, on sleep and
Love it.
getting up.
Love it. I think that's great. So, all right, so let's transition away from sleep, and you know, we're going to definitely be asking Tony next week what time he's getting up. But talk about the behaviors that you folks have decided to turn off, and you know what it is that you're stopping. So it is out of I think out of module 4, and so that was the question that Mark had for the group: is what is it that you are stopping doing? And hopefully having a group discussion around it will help some of you get some ideas who haven't been able to figure it out, or maybe encourage you to add another 1 or 2 to the things that you've chosen not to do. I'll start with my one I've already mentioned now way too many times, which is I've moved my phone out of my reach when I'm driving, and except for the times where I use it for the map, and that's where I'm still struggling with it. But I've just decided that that's absolutely a non-negotiable, that I won't multitask, and so I've added in the behavior of listening to CDs in my car, which is something I used to do, and now I'm always on the phone. So using that net time that Darren talks about. Who else here has got some behaviors that they're turning off that they can share with the group?
Yeah, this is Mark Thompson, since we got the silence. This was my question that I was asking, because I was really trying to figure out what other people are doing. Something that I did do as far as things that I did turn off was, it sounds crazy, but Facebook notifications. I belong to a lot of different groups and a lot of different products, and I find myself, when I was looking at myself, really just checking in with Facebook throughout the day, which was just sucking way too much time. So one of the things I did was I figured out, with the help of a YouTube video, how to shut off Facebook notifications, and then I'm just, at the end of the day, maybe checking in real quick, or maybe in the morning just checking in real quick, and then I don't have the disruptions throughout the day. So that's one thing I did. I did the same thing with LinkedIn. I don't really care, too much about if someone got a new job. If I want to keep in contact with someone, I'll check in every once in a while on LinkedIn, but it's not something I want to manage or see all of these notifications. So that was something else that I shut off. So those are just a couple things that that I did. But I'm looking for other ideas too.
That's great. Anyone else have anything that they've jumped in and shut it off?
Hey, this is Tara again. I haven't really so much turned anything off as it made an exchange. I love to read, and so one of my goals is to not read so much of fiction and the entertainment books, and exchange that with more motivational. I've written down a list of all the books that everybody's mentioned and ordered all of those, and I'm blocking out time every morning to read at least a chapter or 2 of those books, just to I'm spending my time doing that anyway, but now I'm trying to focus that on things that will be more beneficial rather than just my entertainment.
Love it. I love the idea of an exchange, right? Exchanging something that is not a terrible habit. Reading is never a bad habit, but changing what you're reading, I love that. It'll upgrade. Thank you, Tara. Anybody else? How about you, Tony? I see your hand up. Oh, I got to unmute you. Here we go. Oh, no, you're unmuted. Oh, send unmute request. All right, I'm trying to get you up unmuted, Tony. Hang on one sec. I don't know if Marcy's on and she can help me up. There you go. You look to be unmuted, Mr. Tony.
Okay, one of the things that I've done is I used to get home from work probably 6:30, 7 o'clock, and that's pretty normal for me. And my girls, they like to watch stuff that I don't like to watch on TV, but for the longest time I would see myself sitting there doing the same thing. And so what I've done recently is I've shut that off, and I've replaced it with going out to my like screened-in porch and reading a chapter of a good book. Or taking a walk with my dog just to kind of keep me active and taking care of myself.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I think being active is a really good thing. A really good thing.
There's so much on TV that it just kind of it sucks the marrow out of your brain, and is a big time sucker as well. And it's so easy to just get drawn in, and by the time you're done, it's 9:30 and you've done nothing productive.
Yeah, that can happen, right? And I think that's one of the reasons we talked, or one of the best practices we talked about before, was when you jump right in the morning and you do those most important things first, those big rocks, and then the same thing happens if you were talking about 9:30 at night, where it seems like once people get on the internet and get sucked into Facebook, all of a sudden it's past their bedtime and they didn't actually accomplish much. So that's where I love Tara's idea of reading at night. I'm going to call on Nicole Francis in just a minute because I see her hand up, but I think, Nicole, you're logged in twice somehow, and so last time we had you on, we had a pretty bad echo, so if you can just take a look and see if you can log yourself off in one of those instances, I think that'll help us when I do unmute you. Or Dave, if you have a different suggestion, let me know, since you're the guru. Love that. Anyone else have any other things they've committed to, turned off, behaviors that have changed since starting Insane Productivity? I'll throw in one while I wait for somebody else to be brave and speak up. One of the things that I heard Dave Gallegos say a few calls ago was he talked about how he turned off the little notification on his computer of how many emails he had, and so I went after that call because I kind of in my head made the excuse that I couldn't do that. I couldn't figure it out because I'd kind of looked, now that I've got multiple different email systems running for all the things that I've got going on in my life, and so I was able to Google how to do it, and I turned off, so I have no notifications on my laptop, which is what I work off of during the day, so I have to physically go check into my email to see it, and then I went onto my iPhone, and I went into the notifications section, and I literally turned off notifications on everything on there. So same thing when I log into my phone, there's no little numbers telling me how many Facebook things have happened. There's no numbers telling me if anyone has sent me an email. I have to proactively check them when it's time to check them because, I still don't think I'm totally ADD, but I think I'm close, and anytime I saw a number sitting there on anything, it bugged me. And that new iOS upgrade that Dave talked about, it seems like there's way more things that flash on my screen all the time now, like unimportant things. Like I got one of those new fancy thermostats at my house that's hooked to my phone, and it was telling me when I drove too far away from my house, and so I literally turned off all other notifications on my phone. I don't know what happens in fantasy football anymore. I don't know what happens in the stock market, and that's been just super freeing for me to ignorance is bliss on unimportant things. All right, Nicole, I see you're logged in now only once, so let's unmute you and hear what you got to say.
Hey there. Is this better?
We're still getting a little bit of an echo. Are you logged in on the phone?
No, I'm not. It's just my computer speakers. I can call in.
Yeah, Marcy, you have any idea how we get that turned off? All right, I'm not sure. We're beyond my technical. So let me mute you again because people get freaked out when we have that echo. There we go. Got rid of that echo. All right. How about J.C. Coleman? I see your hand is up. Let's unmute you.
Yes, I am. How is everyone?
Excellent.
A couple of things that I did to kind of simplify and quiet thing down. The first thing I did was go through emails and unsubscribe to everything that was so unimportant but would clog up my email box. There were hundreds of emails that really meant absolutely nothing to me during the day, but you still have to sift through them to get to the important stuff. Another thing I did was I'm terrible about answering my phone. No matter what I'm doing, I will answer it. and I've silenced that. Rather than vibrate, I did actually silence it because you can always still pick up a vibration. And of course, all of the Facebook notifications, I had a Skype system running for processors, my wife, and I really didn't realize how disruptive it was to see that little Skype pop-up button. It takes your focus away from what you're doing, and if you're trying to do a jam session and you've got things like that, it just doesn't work. So there's no little pop-ups to tell me an email came in. There's really just a plain old computer screen with whatever I've got open, and it really clarifies things for the ability to focus.
Love it. Love it. That's awesome. All right, so believe it or not, we have flown through our call. So a couple of things, I got a couple of asks of all of you. Number one is that keep engaging in the Facebook community. I'm going to put up that commitment for jam sessions for on time. That's what Nicole was going to tell us about. She's committing to 3 60-minute jam sessions next week. And so that's great. I'm going to go ahead and put that up there. I'd love anyone else who wants a little bit of accountability around that to throw into that discussion thread when I put it up there, what you're going to do for jam sessions. Also, next week, I will, towards the end of the week, I'm going to put up a survey on what module you're all on. So that way we know. Again, you've kind of heard it. Sounds like we've got a lot of you at the beginning, modules 2 through 5, and then we still have a big number of people that are rounding out the very end of Insane Productivity. So I would love to get some feedback if you guys can just go on there before the call next week. And I normally do a little summary of what I think everyone's doing, but I think everyone at this point is all over in different places. So I think the big key right now is to take the bull by the horns. If you're one of those folks who has kind of fallen off the Insane Productivity wagon, dig in. I say there's no time like the present. If you need to catch up on a module, maybe do it right now when we hang up this call, and just jump right in and make that the next thing that you do before you get distracted. Put in a minimum of 30 minutes and, shoot for 60 or 90 if that's what you've got in you. Those of you who are still going on strong and you're hearing someone who's in an earlier module and you're like, oh yeah, I've stopped doing that already, right? I'm multitasking again, or I committed I was going to go and make those adjustments on my phone or my computer so those notifications weren't there. Go back and review. I think that's one of the other challenges that when I've talked to people individually offline, that people are so busy just trying to get the modules done that they're not going back and reviewing and making sure they're implementing those other things. It's really crazy. There's definitely people, ironically, that paid for this program that were on the first couple calls who we haven't seen again, who probably still haven't gotten past the first module or two and never will. I applaud all of you guys for being here, and really love the interactivity of the call today. We had some new people speaking up, and I would definitely love to hear from even more of you next week. When we get on that call, be prepared. We'll jump right in there with what those discussion topics are. It seems like if we get 3 or 4 pretty meaty discussion topics, then that'll take us through the call, and I think that is the way that we can add value for all of us, because remember, this call is about you guys and really helping all of you grow and become more productive. So appreciate everyone for being here today, those of you who contributed, and even those of you who listened. I think it's super important for this community, and if anyone needs anything in the meantime, feel free to reach out. I'm here to help, as is Dave and Kristen. Thank you guys for being here as well. It's always great to have that additional support, and we will see you all next week.
Good job, Todd. Thanks.
Thank you.